welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
That's me. Happy Friday, guys. Hi, Mac. I'm excited. We put in work for you guys, so it's gonna be a show. Hopefully, you guys learn stuff because I learned a lot this week, and it's fun being curious, isn't it? Like just wondering things and then finding them out and making sure they're right. I don't know. I just find something about that is very soothing to know that I can and to know the difference. You know, I do have to tell you guys, from last week to this week, I've changed my mind on some major Cuban things that I thought I totally understood, and I was wrong. I mean, it happens all the time. I'm wrong all the time. So I'm excited.
Why do you even come here? Don't listen to us.
I know.
Good night, everyone.
Loser. Get out of here.
Tell them we're
You're
always
right. Wrong. You don't know what you're doing. You're just curious about everything.
Please just believe us all the time.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, well.
Also, I'll finish your drink.
I think that we're very fortunate. I'll say I'm very fortunate to sit in an air-conditioned house or a heated house with fresh water that turns on when I turn on my sink, with a toilet that flushes, that I can take a shower when I want. These are privileged things that we take for granted, and so I can sit in that and look back with the privilege of history. So I'm also privileged because I'm not in that. I'm not part of all of it, you know, so I'm coming from a different privilege. So education school day this weekend. I can't wait to share that with you, but Mac actually is going to school all of us, me included. So we're gonna see if I agree or disagree, and then maybe Mac and I will get into it. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness, that would be fun. Drama.
Because she uses claws, but okay. So my topic this week is labels, and I like to bring up labels every now and then because my cat is meowing. No, because my stance on labels overall is they are as helpful as they are harmful. So that said, oh my goodness. That said, they are important, right? Let me give you an example. When you don't believe in God anymore, if you had at one point and then you don't know what that's called to not, you feel very small and alone, right? Learning what an atheist is can really helpful. Also, if you think atheism is a worldview, that is very unhelpful because it's not. It is a single stance that can be incorporated into your worldview. And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people use atheism as a label for a worldview, and they stick all of the negative connotations on it that they can, right? And then some people try to stick positive things to it, but they don't quite understand that it's not a worldview. So labels, just in that example alone, can be as helpful as harmful, right? I always forget exactly where Christy, and maybe you can tell me what you label as, like politically and economically. Like I'm like a democratic socialist myself. Like, I'm definitely a socialist. I'm not just a social democrat.
Yeah, same.
Same. Okay. Yeah.
Same. I do believe that shoes, food, and housing, like these things are basic human rights. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that everybody should get a McMansion or, a car or no, but public transportation, if you can't afford it, should be subsidized. It should. That you should not have if you can't afford a bus ride, it should be subsidized. So yeah, that would be the definition of socialism, and I think class should be fucking abolished.
I think
don't.
if you live at like the poverty line, you should be able to afford a car.
I do think that
I
there
think
should be
that,
programs.
and I don't think we disagree there. I'm just saying, like, yeah.
I like the, and
Yeah.
Cuba does it like they do a percentage. So they get $28 a month. That's their 28. But you got to understand, a bag of rice is like 4 cents.
Okay.
Like a big thing of right. It's a big thing. Yes, it's different. So, but they take that 28% and they say, so 10% of that is going to be what you pay for blah blah blah, and because they don't pay for housing at all. Everybody has house as a human right. You get a house, you get a place to be, and so and it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I will get into that, but I think that it should be a percentage. And I know that here in the States, for most people that are not wealthy or they're not in the extremes, they're just, check to check making it, they're paying 50% or more of their monthly income for their housing. And it should never be like that. It should never be like that. And I know we pay more than 50% of more. So yeah, I think that even though you hear $28, don't let that fool you. It's different. I did take some notes so I could explain it. So because at first I was like, wait a minute, no, I do not agree. No. I have problems with this. And I do. I do. But I do think socialism, and for atheists, definitely. I can't say that I don't know. Nobody can know. But because I can't know, then I have to act as if, they're in reality. I have to live in that reality that I can't know. So to say either way would be silly. I would be claiming something that I cannot prove. So I'm an atheist. I'm definitely, I would say a socialist, but I also within, see, this is what I've learned this week, is that real socialism is just pure democracy, like actual democracy, where instead of it's for the people, it's not, and there's no class, there's that's right where I am. And humanist, I think, kind of, for me personally, I think it just envelops that. It's all of these things, and the more humanists I meet, the more socialists I meet, and it's just been really awesome to.
That is where my whole spiel's gonna come back around to.
Right. It just, when you follow the facts, that's kind of where, if you're like Mac and I, for me personally, when I am presented with something that goes against what I thought or, what I believed, and it's different, and then I research it and I, make sure the source is right. And if it happens to be the actual data, then I have to, in my head, change my mind. I can't be wrong knowing that that's wrong. So if you're like that, like Mac and I, when it comes to that and changing your mind when you're wrong, then you'll follow to being a humanist. It's where it leads.
And that's a label all on its own, right? Like humanist, like it is, that one is more of a worldview, right? Yes. It can be an attribute, but like there is definitely a humanist worldview.
Yes. Your cat's adorable, by the
way. Yeah, he's got a baby. Yeah. But But some people can misconstrue that just that label alone, even as just like humanist. Okay, so they think humans are the best thing, only thing, and all they care about is human. Like, and they paint it as something negative. Like, you can do that with just about anything. So my topic here tonight is labels, because I am seeing a lot of the negative things about labels coming out right now, and it really frustrated me. Like, I listen to a lot of politics throughout the day, week, whatever, and not a lot really gets to me, like, past a certain point. Like, sometimes I get like kind of emotional, like especially like during the force the vote thing. Like, I got pretty emotional then, because like I was angry. I was angry because I felt like it was so simple. But I got really upset in like a devastated, kind of hopeless way this week, because of, and I want to be honest and like let everyone know what prompted this for me. And it was the interview that Jimmy Dore did with Magnus. Magnus, I have his name, Magnus Penvita or something like that. It was a really good interview, and I'll get back to that. But what I wanted to lead with, now giving you the premise, is more of the premise of like my argument. If you don't know this name, I'll put it in the live chat for you, real quick. Daryl Davis. Daryl Davis. If you don't know who Daryl Davis is, look up his Wikipedia. Look him up on Joe Rogan. He's been on Joe Rogan. I listened to him a little over a year ago, I think. He's one of my favorite people since Martin Luther King Jr. He is a beautiful human being. One of the best that we have. He is a black musician. I don't know how old he is. I can look it up. It's right here. He was born in 58, so he's 63. In like a month and a half, he'll be 63. He's from Chicago, Illinois. All that isn't really super important to my point.
Hold on. I'm from Illinois, and there's no S on it. God damn it.
I'm sorry. I know that, and I
said
still
to everyone. It's not you. I promise.
I know it.
Everyone says the S, and I'm like,
Illinois.
No, it is not there.
It's like there's no R in a New York, right?
Yeah, New York sounds like, yes. I know it's hard, but yeah.
It's New York.
York.
Khakis and khaki.
New York. Yeah, they put R's on the. If there's an A at the end of the name, it's gonna sound like an R. Like,
thank you for
like Hannah. It's Hanner.
Yeah. So okay, Daryl Davis. There is an R, and Daryl, and there is an S in Davis. This man, all you really need to know about him is that he has white friends who used to be in the Ku Klux Klan. Robert White was, I think, the first person that he really befriended who was in the Ku Klux Klan, and he just, he had just gotten out of jail, and I think he wanted to interview Robert White. He was the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan in the state of Maryland. And he interviewed him, he talked to him, he befriended him. And eventually, this grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan not only left the Ku Klux Klan, he turned in his robes to Daryl Davis. And that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. That's beautiful. Another person that I made note of, in 2017, after being arrested for firing his gun at counter protesters at a Unite the Right rally, Daryl Davis posted bail for Richard Preston. Soon after, he took him to the National Museum of African American History. He befriended him over time, and then Daryl Davis gave away the bride at Richard Preston's wedding. So overall, I think as of like 2017 or 18, it says in his Wikipedia, Daryl Davis has collected over 25 Klan robes from people after leaving. And that's just because he changes their perspective on what Black people are, what he is as a person. And you don't get that if you don't talk to deplorables. Obviously, quoting Hillary Clinton, right? You can't change people's minds if you only talk to people who agree with you. And if you talk to those who not only disagree with you, but hate your very existence, you can make leaps and bounds in a person's life. You can really change hearts and minds. A few of the quotes that I wanted to share of Daryl Davis is, why do you hate me when you know nothing about me? Which is a question that he asked himself and was the premise behind his book. But he came up with this question when he was 10 years old, when his parents sat him down and told him what racism was, because he didn't know what it was yet. When he was in, I think his high school band, people were throwing things at his band, except it was just at him, and his white friends all tried to protect him and keep him from being hit by debris. And then his parents explained what it was, and that's how he learned what racism was. And he was it 2 months or 2 weeks later, I can't remember, Martin Luther King Jr. died. He was assassinated, and that was his coming to racism in those 2 months or 2 weeks. And he came up with this question when he was 10 years old: why do you hate me when you know nothing about me? The other lesson here in another quote from Davis is, ignorance breeds fear. If you don't keep that fear in check, that fear will breed hatred. If you don't keep hatred in check, it will breed destruction. And when I heard that quote the other day, it made me think of January 6th. Anyone? It makes you think of that, because people in this country hate each other. They usually don't know why. And part of that is because of labels that we stick on each other and allow other people to stick on our so-called enemies. And in many ways, they are our enemies, right? But in the words of Magnus Panvibia, he he ended one of his speeches with like, we have more in common than we know, or than we care to realize. And that's something that is very true, and I already knew. But it's, even knowing that, it's really eye-opening to hear someone across the aisle say it, right? So Jimmy Dore gave an interview to this Boogaloo boy, who we've even mentioned on this channel, and that, like, that's a shitty right-wing group. Right-wing extremist group. But this man, Magnus, is pro LGBTQ, pro Black Lives Matter, anti-police brutality, anti-racist, anti-ICE.
Wow.
And anti-war.
Yes, definitely. Me too.
You may have more in common with your enemy than you realize.
Right.
And you can define enemy in different ways. If you don't realize that enemy is a label, recheck your terms. Right? Interlocutor is a really good positive label that you can put on an enemy.
Right.
You can slap it differently.
I like that so much better.
Yeah.
Because it's not immediately something that someone has to defend or be defensive of or put up shields, or it is what it is. You're my interlocutor, or we're having this conversation, and enemy is it's divisive.
It is.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And Mr. Davis is so that he's able to. I don't even know how. I'm a girl and I'm super vulnerable. I have no problem putting myself in those spots where I'm vulnerable, and I know that that's a very sexist thing to say, but that is what it is. Like it is what it is. That where we are right now, that it's for men, it is very crucial in their life to be able to be at least with a person vulnerable enough to open up so that they can have those connections. It's so important. And Mr. Davis is able to do that with people who want to kill him. Like, to just go be vulnerable in front of them and just, here I am, come check it out. Like, I don't know how he does it. I would be defensive immediately because I already know what they think. And he doesn't. He puts that over here. Like, you're right. He's a very special human. I mean, one of the best of us, for sure.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, I've read.
I always forget his name, but I never forget his actions.
Yes.
Because people don't talk about that.
Daryl Davis, right?
Yeah. Daryl Davis. Yep.
I just call him Mr. Davis because I think he deserves that.
Mr. Davis.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So along with that, so what really upset me is how much shit Jimmy Dore is taking right now.
Yeah.
Not because he's right about everything. He's right about a lot. Like, he makes solid points no matter how he says them. But there is something to be said about his messaging sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, he's a comedian.
Totally.
He's a human.
He's fucking human. That's what I keep saying. Yeah, he's when he says fuck AOC.
Yeah,
he's a fucking traitor.
Right. Doesn't help. But that's not his brand.
Right, but also so often he ends it with "prove me wrong," because he wants her to prove him wrong.
Yeah,
no, I do.
I do too. No, I'm with you.
I do.
Listen, nobody is the sum of the one bad thing they did. Nobody.
No.
Even the worst murderer is not the sum of the worst thing they did. There's just more to them. Humans are very complicated. Yeah. And so I love that he does that, that he forgave them before he met them. Like, they were forgiven before he met them. Yeah, just I couldn't do that. I want to learn to be able to do that. I'm in awe of it.
Yeah. And it really upsets me just because, same. Especially the double fucking standard that we have, right? We like, I know there's a double standard on my end, and like Jimmy Dore's end a little bit too, of where we're like, fuck Nancy Pelosi. We don't want to work with her. She's not good enough. But that's a strategic thing, right? We don't want her in charge unless she's going to work with us. We don't want to unite behind Joe Biden because he's not the right fucking candidate, right? No. I mean, he is what we have. We're going to push him, but that doesn't mean we're going to vote for him, right? I mean, we can have these arguments as they come, but when we try to unite on a top-down effort instead of a left to right, it is completely just not cool. It's evil. It's wrong. We've gone off the deep end. We're now far right, whatever, and it's just labels are thrown, and then no one wants to work with each other anymore. And it splits the right, it splits the left amongst themselves, right? There's so many fucking factions between right-wing groups and left-wing groups. Even if you read the just the Wikipedia even of the Boogaloo Boys,
I know I did.
There's different factions. There's infighting there.
Oh, like gosh. Yes.
Jimmy Dore had a guest from the World Socialist site. What's it called? I'm sorry. Do you know?
Oh no, you're fine. I don't. What?
The World Socialist website. The World Socialist website. He had someone on right after Magnus, and all he could talk about, and this frustrated me so much. Like it made me lose hope because I love that website. I love Richard Wolff, and I agree with most of what this guy believes in. But his messaging was so far off, and his humanity and understanding was so disappointing, especially for like a socialist, which I think is close to humanism. All he could do was listen to Boogaloo Boy and the stereotype that's with it and push it on this person that he's anti-gay, they're racist, they're this, that. I'm like, hold on. Like, he just said he's done fucking security for Black Lives Matter movements. and he helped organize with this. He just reached out to the left, like, because we need to fight the top. Because this is
we need to unite together.
Yeah, we need to unite.
We need
this
to
is
let
a class
them know. Yes, we need to abolish class. That needs to go. That needs to go, and that is a label. But I think that it is very destructive for humans to not be as good because of something that you were born with, or you are, or someone you love. No, I don't agree. I don't agree. All of that has nothing to do with me, and I should have no say over that, first of all. And it doesn't make you more or less of anything, because I don't know you. And I think that's where we need to go at it, like Mr. Davis does. Start off already forgiving them. Don't go in dumb, obviously, if someone's going to do harm or something, don't get yourself involved in that. However, these are people, and their minds are going to change a lot. And Boogaloo boys, come on. If you're a grown ass man, you're not going to call yourself that. You're just not. You're just not. You're a grown ass man. You're not going to punch each other. You're not going to, they hold off on like jacking off for a while so that this is like their initiation. So a Proud Boy,
right.
Stupid. Like,
at least some, right? At least
right.
some. We don't know all, right?
No, I don't know if that is even a thing. I just know that that's, as far as I can find out from their mouths, that this is what they do. But they could be lying. I don't know them, you know.
So what I want to push here is because, and I'll get back to this again. I'm gonna make a note. If you see someone not fitting the stereotype that you have put on a label, representing that label, you need to have a message for them, right? And that message can be the message that you try to send when you're trying to sell people on your label, or it can be if you want to work with that person or just have a fruitful conversation to understand what they believe and why, because epistemology is important.
Yes, it is.
The other message that you need to put out there and convey is, if that's what a Boogaloo boy is, I'd be down for that. You know, if they're pro LGBTQ, pro Black Lives Matter, anti police brutality, anti racism, anti ICE, anti war, like, sounds like I agree with a lot of what the Boogaloo boys stand for. Now, from the stereotype, obviously, you guys know me well enough. I do not, but I agree with this Magnus guy on 85% of what I heard him say on Jimmy Dore's interview. And I shouldn't be ashamed or scared to say that. No.
Nope.
I listened to someone who doesn't agree with me on 100 things. And I found out we have a lot in common, that we can work together, because what is something we fucking brag about? Kyle Kalinske says, Medicare for all.
Yes.
What percent of Democrats and what percent of Republicans want a single payer system?
It's massive.
It's like 65-70% of the Democrats, and like somewhere between 45 and 55% of Republicans.
I have way
Does
bigger
that mean
numbers.
we should just say what?
I have way bigger numbers than that.
Yeah. So
it ends up being like 81% of the population when it comes down to sitting down and asking them personally, like, question, not do you want Medicare for all? Would you like to have a plan that you paid for at the end of the year out of your taxes? And would you like it to be no cost when you go? You don't pay anything when you go, you know, nothing. There's no co-pays. It's just at the end of the year. And everyone has the same care, no matter who they are. It's not, there's no levels, you know, it's just healthcare, preventative and everything. And it's the majority. Yes. Every country, every human wants to be safe and healthy, or if they don't, then something's wrong.
So then when you want to pass something like that, do you say, well, Republicans are fucking awful, so I'm not going to ask any of them to sign on to this bill?
No, unfortunately.
Because that's not tactical, right? No. We're never going to fucking win anything like that. Ever. No. Ever. I don't want to be a loser. Right? I want to win. And I want to win because, like, I try to pick policies that work for the largest majority.
Yes.
I want to win for that large majority.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It should be, every policy should make things better. And if it doesn't, what was the point? And not for a small, you know, majority. Make things better. Like, what is the problem? How can we write legislation or policies to make this better? And it can't hurt anybody. Like going into it, first it has to do no harm. And I think that we should be seeing differences when policies are changed, if they're written for us, for the people, the people should feel and see these changes in policy. And we haven't seen or felt changes in policy for a very long time. So it's time.
No, and yes, so I'm gonna try to wrap up my thingy here. And it's again, it's still gonna be my thingy, my whole spiel. Because I'm more or less at a closing. So a few more points and just like closing thoughts here is like even Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren, all knew well enough to have a town hall or at least reach out to Fox News viewers.
Right.
Right.
So smart.
That
was one of my favorite things that Bernie did was the Fox town hall.
Yeah. And the Democrats hated it.
Yeah, they did. Oh.
Nuts.
It's
and then
extreme nuts. Yeah, it's so far. Yeah. Crazy banana nuts. I don't even know. Banana nuts and caramel.
And I want to point out that Tulsi Gabbard has made some really stupid calls. I'm not happy with everything she's done. She's still one of my favorite politicians. We have a shit ton of politicians, and she's one of my favorites. Like, because there's a lot, like, because she's written some of the best legislation that we've had in the House recently. Like, she wants ranked choice voting. She wants money out of politics. She wrote the Off Act, which is about as good as the Green New Deal. But if you don't like nuclear power, that's in there too. That's like, she goes by the beater of her own drum. Sometimes she's wrong, but she really does seem like she's some kind of humanist, or like she actually gives a shit. But she does stupid things. But no matter what, you push, right? You go with the things you do like. You work with those people. Like, I know Christy doesn't like Tulsi Gabbard
I do, actually. I do. I do. I just disagree with some of the things that she did at the end right there. And it was a lot of people that I was angry about it. It wasn't just her. It was just like, you guys are like skipping over the whole thing. Like, here's the thing that you're supposed to be doing, and you're just not. You're not. Do you not want to do it? Or are you just trying to get out of it? Like, what?
Right. And at that point, grab them by the ankles at that point and stick their feet in the fire. Right?
Yeah.
Put them in the fire. Like, I don't care how much I like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Tulsi Gabbard. If they're not doing what we thought they would stand up for us and do, as Jimmy Dore says, rake them over the coals. I would rather not you do that literally, but you get the point, right? Hold their feet to the fire. And when they're ready to fucking do something,
if they don't want to be a representative, they don't have to. Right.
Right. But when they're there to actually work for you, you jump on board. When someone has a good idea, like fucking force the vote, you jump on board. It doesn't matter what Jimmy Dore said about you.
No.
Right?
It doesn't matter what some comedian in his garage says about you. It just doesn't. Come on, get over yourself. You are not that important. Like, you're just, nobody is that important.
These movements are bigger than any single one of us.
Yes.
Right?
They are.
You can call me any name in the book. But if you have a good idea and I agree with it, then like I'm gonna try to help. Because I want Medicare for all. I want money out of politics. I want ranked choice voting. I want these things. And I don't care. I don't care if fucking Alex Jones comes out tomorrow and says, I think we need ranked choice voting.
Right. Good.
That's my main thing. I'm going to push for it. I think it's going to get all those green alien child fucking people out of the office. Like, all right, he's fucking crazy, but you know what? I want ranked choice voting.
I do too.
And I'm gonna push for everyone to listen to Alex.
I want it, if not in my lifetime, for my daughters. I want them to have more democracy, more representation, more. Yeah, just more.
It doesn't matter who.
Life should get better, not harder. It should get better. I mean, we have things on our phone that predict what word we're gonna say next. We can just tap the next word. There's no reason that things should be so hard for so many people when we know how to make it not. We choose.
So my overall point is, are these people deplorables who shouldn't be reached out to, worked with, or even talked to? Or are these people we should have a message for? Are you part of the working class? Does this top-down, trickle-down economic bullshit work for you? Do you want money in politics? Can we set aside our differences?
We're all gonna have the same answers.
Yeah. And can we set aside our differences for like 2 goddamn metaphorical minutes?
Right.
To push our government in the direction that we want to all go. We all want to go. Right?
Yes.
Because if you can't, then cut this unite bullshit on the left. Like,
right.
Or
Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to unite with anybody that doesn't.
No, but even like,
so out of touch.
I'm even upset at like no Mickey Const right now. Like I'm like no like.
Yeah.
Everyone. Like
I don't agree
even
with her on. Yeah.
Our like I'm so pissed. Like we're factioning off over here, and we're like, don't work with these people. Like, no, you focus on the policies. So just if you can't, then just cut the unite bullshit and just continue to faction on all fronts. Or just focus on policy. You can call me every name of the book, call me a traitor, call me whatever. But if the tactics and the organizing works.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. We need to organize, not faction off. We don't. Step back from your feelings for a minute and look at the big picture. Is what you're being mad about, is it constructive? Is it going to make a difference? Is this something that really needs to be talked about? Like, is it like you really need this? If not, if you're just like your feelings or you're mad, or one time they said something that, come on, it's not about you, it's about all of us and about making a difference in everybody's life. So
it is. And I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I hate tribalism.
Yes,
I'm
I do.
Humanist. And when I'm not working with you on a common cause, I will go back to arguing with you with whatever stupid shit you believe. But right now, we need to focus on fixing this failed state, hyper-aggressive, narcissistic empire.
Yeah, I don't like
empires. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Is I don't care about your feelings. I don't mean to sound like fucking Ben Shapiro. Okay. But like, I don't care if Dave fucking Rubin comes out tomorrow and says, force the vote was a good idea. We actually need to push this more. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna call you a stupid cuntosaurus, Dave Rubin, but I'm glad you're on board. Yep. Hope that doesn't hurt your feelings. Hope you can stay principled and on task and fight for fucking policy. That's what we need to do. That's what political commentators need to fucking do.
It's so freaking annoying. I can't handle it. They're so far from policy. This country doesn't talk about that. And I've even heard them say it's not about policy. It's about real people in character, and that's why people vote. And you're right, in America, a lot of people do vote for that, but that's the fucking problem. That's the problem. We need to be, who cares what their hair looks like? Who cares what they said in 1948? Or, like, let's talk about right now and the immediate future and how we can do something to make things better in people's lives now, and do it together so that when it's done, maybe, hopefully, people will have learned that it's okay to work with somebody that you disagree with wholeheartedly, strongly, on many things to get something done for the betterment of us as a species, as a people, as an individual, as a mom, as a humanist, as it's not going to get done unless no one's going to do it for us. There's no magic person, as far as I know, that's going to come help me. I have to do that myself and make sure that my friends know what I'm going through, so that they know where I'm at and I can turn to them and I can talk to them. And I think that that's so important. And being a humanist has been one of the, since I heard that term and kind of was like, wow, I I have so much to learn. There's so much out there. This was a couple years ago. So
yeah,
I've heard humanists way before that. I just wasn't in the place in my mind where I was sitting down to think about, am I a humanist? What are these things? I just wasn't there yet,
Yeah, and it's hard to relate to any label. Sometimes
right.
if you don't look into
like
what
I said, nobody's the sum of
means.
the one bad thing they did, or the one great thing they did, or if they were a war hero, or nobody is. We are nuanced and beautiful and complicated and gross, and sometimes we do bad things, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person. Sometimes you're a bad person who does good things. We're complicated. So I would say reach out to everyone. It doesn't matter if they used to be a Proud Boy, or they called themselves a Proud Boy last week, or they changed their mind. None of that matters. If they're willing to put themselves out there, I think we should be too. And I would work with, anybody who's willing to work for that cause. Anybody who's willing to work for that cause, because that means that they care about that too. And I'm already going to be. So why don't you join us? No matter what your beliefs are. I think that making things better is not a there. Tell me that's wrong. Because if you're gonna tell me that's wrong, then you're just silly, and I can't. Oh, did I go away? Hey, help! I fall down.
So I guess that answers my question to if Christy agrees or not. That was a really good conversation, though. I'm glad we went through that, because you weren't here every time, or almost every time. Yeah, I think every time I talked about forced to vote, I was like, damn it, I want her opinion.
I know.
And I was so sad.
Oh, you guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it really so.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not even the same exact issue right now. I mean, just tactics and policy and getting upset over name calling.
Yeah. When we have we're
adults.
Grown men playing sedition games in our capital. Come on, we got shit to do. We've got big stuff to do. We got put on our big boy pants. We can still be silly. We can have fun. But it's time. Stop it. Yeah, you're right. No more factioning. Let's talk about policy and what can I do to help this policy? Or how can I learn more about policy? Let's start there. What is policy? How is it written? Who's involved? I don't know. Those things are so important if you don't know.
Don't ask what this policy can do for you. Ask what you do for the policy.
Oh my gosh.
Make it happen.
That's really funny, Meg.
Thank you. we'll have to get a t-shirt and some rights.
That's really good.
All right. Are you ready to move down to
am.
Cuba?
I am.
Tell me about Cuba.
Okay. I would love to. And I would
I'm
like to start off with, I have changed my mind about a few things. Go figure, I was wrong. So I had that cognitive dissonance that happens where you're like, no. I know this. Okay, well, this is really good. This is a really good source though. It is. And there's the evidence, and I have to either accept it or not. Those are my options. And I have to accept it and then change my mind. So Cuba is complicated. It is very, very complicated. Whew, this is going to be hard. I fell in love with this island this week. More. I mean, not just this week, but definitely. I spent a lot of time on not just the history. You guys know I love the history. I have this whole history of, the dates and I'm not even gonna do it. Like, I'm not. I think that won't do. We need a humanist look at this, and I can answer any of your questions about any of the numbers. I can. I think it would be more important to focus on what I learned, and okay. It's a very, very complicated country. The people there really never had a chance. So they were indigenous Cubans 500, 600 years ago, and they had been there for thousands of years, like the great Inca. And all the great tribes of, the ancient Central Americas, they were part of that. And they hadn't been exposed to any of the diseases. You guys know the story, I'm sure. The basic history. And so they got taken out. Almost all of them, like 90, 95%, all of them were just gone within the first year of Columbus reaching here. Whether it was from being murdered or all the diseases that they weren't exposed to prior to. So smallpox, chickenpox, there weren't antibiotics or anything like that. They just died. And so, or got taken back to be a slave or someone's child slave sex thingy or whatever, just they never had a chance. They didn't have weapons, they didn't have guns, they didn't have any of this stuff. And they welcomed them. They welcomed them to their women were able to choose the way that it is written in, who they bed. This is how it said. They chose. And this was so different. They couldn't allow that. Can't be allowed in a Catholic, in a Spain, a colonial Spain, and Columbus, and that's where he, got the ship from, and was representing when he came to India to find the spices and riches and gold. And it was a little island off of Cuba, and then he made it through all of them. So that's kind of where the story starts, for it being them never really having a chance. There's like 2 point something% of that population that survived, and they have since then married and had children with people who were not who were not of that little tiny 2% population. And there's nothing wrong with it, obviously, but it just means that there are none of that left. It's changed. So it took until the late 1800s before Cuba started to have like a nationality. They started to be Cubans, because now there's from the 500,000 or more, I think way more, slaves that were brought through Cuba from Africa to work in the sugar plantations and the coffee plantations, and so we have all of this coming over, and their religions, well, they weren't allowed to practice them, so they had to wait until it was nighttime and dark to practice their religions, and they melded them with Catholicism, and we got Santeria, and we got all of these new religions, not just in Cuba either, all throughout the Middle Americas. There are all these different mixes of the African slaves and their songs that they would sing. These became like religious, and it's just so rich. The culture there is just brilliant and beautiful. And oh yeah, like I said, it changed my mind on a lot of things. And a lot of it was really hard to see and read. I know that in 1995 there were still homes that didn't have running water in Cuba, and people had to walk in Havana, in downtown, walk downstairs 3 flights in dilapidated houses where the roofs are falling in, and that's still, those houses are still there. But I also know that everyone gets a home, and that's a noble thing when you have an empire above you that won't let you get concrete at all. No concrete, no optic fibers, no nothing like that. You're just not getting it. It's not happening. So a month or two salary for a bag or 2 or 3 of concrete, it's impossible. So they're working on that. There's a program right now. Anyone can travel to, no, I'm sure there are certain people that can't travel to Cuba. So I'm not, when I say anyone, I don't mean every single person. But for the most part, any American or any person can travel to Cuba through, they have a program where if you want to travel to Cuba, you do it through this program that helps rebuild these old buildings that are falling apart. So you stay with a Cuban family, and you have pretty much a strict schedule where you're going to be doing what they do, which would be so freaking amazing, because you're not going as a tour. I mean, you are going as a tourist, but you're going to go be a Cuban. You're going to live in Cuba and be in the. I love that. And so you're staying with a family, you're helping them, and you're getting to see the real life. And I just want to retire on the beach and watch people play dominoes. I just want to be there so bad. Okay, so
little known fact about me, I love dominoes.
Yes, I just love that they sit outside. Tampa, I live in Tampa, so it's little Cuba. It's been called that forever, and Miami as well. So many Cubans here. I mean, my girlfriend's Cuban, so it's a very, very, very beautiful island by itself without any, politics involved. So, like I said, they never had a chance. So let's go now that I can breathe again. Okay. So now these sugar plantations. Sugar was called white gold. And I mean, imagine you're in the colonies and this little island below you it's just coming. Like so much sugar is coming out of this little island. And now you can, if you're a bakery, bake all of these good, you're going to make so much money that you didn't before, because it was meat pies and cheese and meat. Or now you're getting, sweet. I mean, come on, sweet. I love sweets. I love them. I'll choose dessert before dinner any day. Any day. Yes, I just will always do that. So it was called white gold, but it was still very expensive to get, to get out. So
I want to change like like a few of my screen names to white gold.
I like it. I like it. It's really funny. We gotta have like 80s porn music playing in the background.
I'm hot, sticky sweet.
That strip club music.
To my feet, yeah.
Oh goodness. Is that White Snake or something? Why do I even know that? You know that too much. I'm starting to worry about you. Oh goodness. Just don't grow your hair out and feather it, okay? Don't do that. We'll be fine.
No, I would have you feather it. I would have you feather it.
I could totally do that for you.
I like how you're like, don't do that, but I do it.
I could totally do that for you. I think I have some black leather pants you can wear too.
All I have right now are some tight white pants, but I would totally.
Oh yeah, for white gold. You need a gold belt. Yeah,
Oh,
you need a gold
I
belt.
actually have a gold belt. You guys are learning too much about me right now.
Oh goodness, the real Mac is coming out.
No, he's staying in.
Yeah, let's keep him in. I've met him. He's a fun guy. Yeah, he's fun. He's silly.
He's like white sugar.
Yeah. No, that's Ollie. That's Oliver. He's white sugar. He's white sugar baby.
He's such a white. He's such a nice boy.
He's a
sweet. He's sweet.
I miss him. I do.
He is my son.
Yeah, he's Mac's oldest boy, and he's my future boyfriend. He's so cute. He's so cute. I mean, like, he's so cute. Yeah. Anyway, him and I had a lot of fun when they came down. So yeah, I do miss him. Okay, so these plantations, in order to make the money that they wanted to make. Yeah, I know. Totally good. Did I fall down again? Goodness. I can't get it to hold on too tight in that area. You remember. It's just kind of like sits on the ledge like a bird. But it's not a bird. It's a camera and it's heavy. And I move all the time. You guys can see. So they decided that they were going to buy humans. And this was going to be a thing. And it was. It became a thing. And it was a big thing. And that's a story that I'm not going to, cover or get into. That's a totally different story. It is Cuba's story. It's part of Cuba's tale. And Cuba has this very unique story of a country that decided to not agree with status quo or what other people said or the big bosses in town, and said, no, actually, we're going to do it this way, no matter what you say. And it's been over 6 decades. So I have this almost like renewed assurance that I don't have to worry that some of those policies will go away. The policies like everyone gets a house and their subsidies for food and all of those programs, I don't feel like they will go away. I don't. I feel like that's something ingrained in, I mean, people are living with their grandmothers who fought in the revolution, grandmothers who fought in the these are badass women, strong women. And these women were able to come back and get an education in whatever they wanted, or be a mom, whatever it was. They were there to tell the story, and their stories are so beautiful and so colorful. And so I learned a lot from a lot of these female warriors from the revolution as well. And they had so much to say about how the plantations, from their point of view, how the waste from the plants were built during the Industrial Revolution. So think about that. We have like steel and like all of this stuff happening, and sugar in Cuba happening. So we're able to build these like machines that pour the rum into the bottle. You've seen them manufacturing. The bottle goes here, bottle, and then they attach, they get filled up, and then something sticks a topper on them, something sticks a sticker on them. Right. So they were able to build these machines because of the Industrial Revolution. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. I love those. Those are great videos. Yes, I like them.
I think they played that in like the baby making like factory episodes of like Looney Tunes.
Probably.
And then they slap it.
Yes, they do.
Blood.
They do. God,
Powder it.
great. This cartoon does everything. So the waste from these big ass plants was getting put back into the ocean because nobody had a use for it. They just wanted the sugar. Well, the waste is what you distill and make rum. So it was a slave drink because it was Mac likes his rum. Rum. So yeah, and so white gold was expensive. Sugar was expensive, but now with this, they discovered, because you got to understand it went from a very classed system with the colonial and the slaves to I can't say it didn't have class because that would be a lie. It definitely does. And that's what they wanted to abolish. That's what they were trying to abolish. However, they never got there. And I had to change my mind on a couple of the stances, like yes, education and healthcare are free and available for everyone. However, if you live out in the sticks and there's nothing out there, you're never going to go to the doctor because you don't have a car, and it's going to be too much to save up money to I don't know, go into town on a day that you're off. They don't have Wi-Fi everywhere. Still to now, right now, there's a lot. It's very complicated. And when they discovered, I told you that they didn't really have they started seeing themselves as as Cubans in the late 1800s, and they came up. This is part of all the basic history of Cuba, and there was a decades-long war between the Spanish colonials and the slaves. And you got to understand, they were slaves. They had a machete. This is what they had, and they cut down 7 days a week. Sugar. That's what they had. So that's what they were fighting with. And nothing. And for 10 years, they held that battle. That's extraordinary. And then, of course, America comes in, and we helped write their constitution. And in it says that we have the right to arrest anyone. We have the right to go in with our military at any time. We have, I mean, it's just bananas. Unacceptable. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Yes.
It cut out, so I couldn't hear you.
BANANAS.
Bananas. You're so silly, Mac.
Sorry, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Funny. It was really funny because you cut out, because it made it.
I get more a musical the more tired I am. Sorry, everyone.
I like your tiredness. Well, so okay. So when I said that they started off very, very, very class, well, that waste was going into the ocean. Well, and it was very expensive. So that's why they had to go get free labor, because they couldn't afford like that. They needed to make money, and they did. They made a lot of money. But after America came, and they considered themselves free now, and they had an election, and some bullshit happened. I'm not even gonna go into that. See, that's what the history of it. I thought it's just anybody can read it, and I will put up a few links. I'll put them in the chat, and then I will send them to Mac and Nacha so they can put them on the video if you guys want to see actual the actual history and the dates and what happened and how we know it's true. I will put all of that on there. But the slaves, they knew that that stuff going into the ocean can be distilled for our religious ceremonies, and they've always used spirit, alcohol, always, for thousands of years. So they made rum. They made rum. It was a slave drink, and the colonial um, top class, they were like, ew, no, no, never, never drinking that slave stuff. Well, guess what? The minute they started making the slave stuff, it paid for the entire production of sugar. Like they didn't have to even pay for it's paid for in rum. And so that sugar that was called white gold now produces something that's even more, it gives them more benefits because it can be made faster than the sugar even. They're just coming out at the same time. You're having rum cooking in all these barrels, and you're having all this free labor do it for you. So they made a killing. I mean, they just reaped so many benefits from these sugar fields. Now, here in the US, our like the song, we have tons of songs about our American heroes and our vets, and that's how it's always going to be, and that's how it's been. In Cuba, it's about their farmers, their sugarcane farmers, and their soldiers that came from those sugar canes. They have all of these songs that they sing, and it's awesome because it's their history songs. You can hear the names of the cities and the battles and it's just so cool that they're so in touch with those things, those beautiful things that make them such a unique. This world, this entire planet has all of us, every single human on this planet has been influenced by Cuba, whether you know it or not. I mean, samba, rum, rum is Cuban. Cigars, these are factories there that are a part of them still today, of their history, of their economy, of their of their pride. They're very, very, very proud. And this ties into a lot of the religious ceremonies that got evolved into the type of religion that is Santeria. You know, a lot of different things, and Santeria is different in many different places. So it's not the same everywhere, because if you came from the Congo or if you came from Namibia, they're going to be different religions. And so those slaves mixed with the Catholicism of colonial Spain, it's pretty unique to see this all come from this one little tiny island. And I think that we should give it much more credit for being brave, for being extraordinary, for I nobody has a chance standing up to our military. You just don't. So I just think that's pretty ballsy. I as a people, they decided, to this day, you know, when they see construction trucks coming in to redo one of these old buildings, they want to know, who are they doing it for? Did the people who owned it, did they sell it? Is it going to be, because they don't want more hotels, they want more homes, and the homes have to go for the Cubans, you know. So I agree with that. I understand that. I like that. I think that every country should be like that. They should care about their people and make sure that their people are taken care of before their big businesses. Like people, the people part of it. And that's one thing, even though Cuba doesn't get right, they try to, and that is their mission. And I can say that with a straight face, that I do see the people that are working to make the country better every day. That's what they're focusing on, and they are focusing on the small things, making sure that we move the people that are falling, this building is falling apart, and it is a historical building, so we want to kind of rehab it. So we're going to take these people and move them where? Well, they have to go somewhere. Well, you don't want to disrupt their lives, so they have to, keep them in the same place. What they don't want is to move them out to the sticks and then move tourists in, or people who are not Cuban in, because then that changes everything. And I agree with that, actually. I think that that's actually pretty fucking ballsy, and I like that they're like, no, it's happened, and so the people are not, they don't like it. And I get it. Now, with them starting to be a people and consider themselves Cuban with this rich history of all of these things as theirs. Now they're Cubans, and it's in the 1900s, and it actually does pretty well. There are many years of economic growth because of the free labor and all of that, but then they didn't have it, and they still produce rum. They still produce rum. They still produce sugar. They still produce coffee. It's actually a pride for their nation. They have some pretty rad soil. It's the most perfect a soil can be for white sugar. And white sugar, I have some. I'm sure everyone has some in their house. It's just a staple. I just, to think that that staple that we all just take for granted, I'm in Florida, so I'm right above Cuba, and so I'm pretty close to that climate, but I don't have mountains. Florida is as flat as my mom's butt. Like, no, my mom actually has a booty right now, but she didn't. She was getting a little twig most of her life, like this, just like a little long legs and long arms. And so, no, Cuba has mountains and beaches, and I just, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I think that, oh, I did want to read to you that what I was telling you that about the travel, because I didn't want to get that wrong and tell you like everybody can go, but we do have a trade embargo. We've had a trade embargo since 1960. It's really bad, and every country on this planet wants us to stop it. All of them want us to stop it, because what's the point? We're just, well, I can tell you the point actually. The point is that we wrote into their constitution that we would be able to do these things, and Cuba wouldn't be able to do anything to stop us. And they, well, what were they going to do? Okay, so a brief history, and this part is kind of important for if you want to go. I really do. So I'm really, the perfect ideal for me would be to end up there and end there, I think. I really do. So in 1960, the first trade restrictions on Cuba after the rise of power of Fidel Castro. President Eisenhower placed most U.S. exports to Cuba under validated license controls, except for non-subsidized food, medicines, and medical supplies. Right. But right now, they're not able to get those. So people with cancer that there's treatment for, they're not able to get that treatment. People who have things like they needed to have surgery on their throat and they need that little box so they can talk, they don't have those things. So they just can't talk no more. That's unacceptable. This is
It's a third. I mean, we don't have things in. I'm sorry, they don't have things in third world countries like that because we insure it.
right.
We do. And if
Listen,
anyone thinks that I'm wrong about that, I ask you to look into it. It's not hard to find out that we cause most countries to remain third world countries, but especially especially Cuba.
Especially because of communism. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh.
And proximity.
Right. It's been over 6 decades, people. Like, they are who they are. So let them be. You can walk home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. There's hardly no crime. It's just that part. There's videos that are out there like it's full of. No, it's not. That is a blatant lie. It is not full of crime. There was a time right after the fall of the communist bloc because of Berlin, the wall getting torn down, and the $8 million a day from the USSR was coming to Cuba, and that subsidized their medical, their housing, their education, their everything. And so when that stopped coming in, people actually did starve. No, it was bad. And so a lot of the documentaries that I like are the ones that follow people throughout their lives, go back every 10 years, and there are a few, and they are wonderful to watch these people, you can see how Cuba is prospering, and so are they. And when the people are prospering, it's a different feel. And then you can see when you come back, and he came back in 7 years. It's called Cuba and the Cameraman, this particular one. It's won awards. It's beautiful. I will put a link up. It is free. It is on YouTube, actually. That's I watched it on Netflix, but I did see it there. It didn't look like it was in the best quality. It looked like it was, recorded. But I think that come back. Oh, Cuba is facing a form of chronic non-extreme food scarcity, where certain ingredients are nearly impossible to acquire and others are difficult to find. But something is always available to prevent hunger. Now, however, when the fall of the communist bloc happened, they weren't prepared. $8 million a day was not there anymore. And then we put an embargo around them so that nobody can, if you docked your boat in Cuba, you could not dock your boat in America, North America, for 6 months. Nobody's going to miss out on 6 months of economic growth with that country for an island. No one. So we set them up to fucking fail. Yeah. And so people would wake up in the morning and their one ox and their one cow that they had for milk and cheese to get them through the winter are gone because people ate them. People were starving. So all the farm animals were going missing during the night because people were literally starving to death. There was no food. There would be no flour, no. Yeah, that I knew all that, but really sitting down and just being curious and just, okay, let me just take it all in, and just broke my heart.
I want to share a link real quick, and I don't remember everything that's in it, but but it's just here in the chat. This is a Face the Nation interview with Fidel Castro.
Oh,
here in the US. I remember it being really cool. I don't remember everything said, but the thing that always strikes me with these interviews, and there's also one, I think in the same decade, and I forget who it was. I'll kick myself later, but who was in charge of Russia? They had a Face the Nation interview. Like, we don't. Yeah. What strikes me was strange is that one, we don't talk about those interviews from these people that like we look back on and like either criticize or prop up, and we don't talk about these older interviews. Two, I haven't seen an American interview Vladimir Putin. That should happen, right? I want to see an American interview of Vladimir Putin. I'm glad that I've seen an interview with Nicolas Maduro.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I'm glad I've seen that, and that's fucking rare, and most people will never see it who live here in the States because they don't know how to find it, and they probably don't even think it's
even not in English, so they're not going to.
He's not even the president down there. But it's crazy. Like, I mean, like, listen to this link that I just gave you. maybe tomorrow, just pull it up and just realize we don't get that shit anymore.
Right.
That's weird. Like, look at what you get here and ask yourself why you aren't getting it.
Well, listen, Cuba's highly professionalized and responsive healthcare system ranks as one of the best in the world. Under the Cuban Constitution, adopted in 1976, the year Christy and Santiago was born, all Cubans have the right to healthcare and are accordingly entitled to receive free medical care. The Constitution obligates the state to provide a full range of universal, accessible health services free of charge and to develop public health policy plans, including health education, periodic medical examination, immunization, preventative measures, dental care, all of it. It's all taken care of. So, and that's in their constitution, but also in their constitution is that America is going to just occupy you and we're just going to put our military base on you. And I lost a modicum of respect for FDR this week. I mean, big time. And I don't know if I was just romanticizing him, and that very well could be. He's a very romanticized American, historical, and he was taken before his time, unfortunately, or maybe he wasn't, if you believe in all that. I don't. So, however, he was a cruel monster to Cuba. I mean, just that's the part that has me like this. It was really bad. He wanted to and wrote it in a policy to make them hungry, to make them starving, to make their economy just crash to the ground, to starve the people in the street, to make them overthrow their government. No, it's unacceptable. I will never accept that. So I just didn't know that part of him. And I should have, because I've done so much on history when I did that part of This Is Our America, when I did those years, it wasn't a Cuba story. And what's funny is I did a thorough job of him, and that's not in his story. His story is so clean. It's been cleaned up. It's a historical, romanticized story now. And that's probably why. And that's really sad because I would rather know than not know. And then I guess there's going to be a lot more moments like this because I'm going to be wrong a lot. But this one really stuck when I read that, what he had said to Stacey was reading it out loud. You could just kind of see like, oh, her face too. I'm not even bringing up, I couldn't take a screenshot of it. Netflix won't let you screenshot, it says you can't do it. So no, it won't. So
I didn't know that.
No, I know. It says sorry, you're unable to screenshot. So maybe if I were to watch it on YouTube, it would have been poor quality, but I would have had it for you guys. But it is the part where he says he wants, them to be hungry in the streets. He wants there to be no food. He wants the people to be sick and miserable, no medication. No, I mean, if we just take everything away from them and they're not able to get anything, they will overthrow their government. Yeah, but you know how many hundreds of thousands of people are going to die first, you fucking asshole? Like, they didn't do anything to anybody. I just will never accept. Never. So I wanted to talk about land and property because this was something that I learned, that land and buildings of individual property cannot be used as collateral for loans or credit. And the law specifically forbids the use of housing for lucrative purposes, period. Housing is for living, and everyone deserves a house to live. This is penalized with the loss of property by confiscation. Article 20 of the law, urban reform proclaimed in the 60s, forbids the embargo of permanent housing and its use of collateral or guarantee, and also prohibits housing mortgages and property taxes. Now, they've rewritten, they have a brand new constitution they did in 2018, which is part of the success part of the story. Now, they're not going to talk about this here, because if a country were able to not only survive all of that, the embargo, all of it, but then thrive with these policies, I mean, thrive with these policies, that word would get out, and that's not going to be allowed. It's just not going to be allowed. So that's why you have people like Nancy Pelosi saying, well, I'm sorry, we're capitalists. That's just the way it is. No, Nancy, not all of us. And no, Nancy, not all of us. So you don't speak for all of us. And I really think that I do agree with the way that they went about writing their new constitution too. So what they did was how we do it. We have areas where we voted. They just made it smaller. Now, it was like 8-9 million people in Cuba. It's gone down because obviously people didn't want to stay during all of that, and I get it. I do. I get it. I wouldn't want to either. I wouldn't want to live somewhere where if I was hungry for chicken, I couldn't get it today. I'd have to wait for a few weeks because the country above me is butthurt from something that happened a long time ago over politics and ideology. It's not your country. Well, I guess it is. We kind of stamped our name on it and took it. So I like their inheritance, the way they do, like say I was living with you, right, at your house, and it's with your wife and your kids, but I rented a room from you and you died. Well, the house was in your name. Nobody that lives there would have to move. Now it's our house. That's where we live. Like, that's where we live. I like that if it's already occupied by the individual, they will inherit the property. It's now theirs. That's it. That's your home. I agree. It's very simple.
You can stay in my house.
Yeah. You're so sweet. It says, however, although the inheritance rights are acknowledged and any other occupants have the right to continue here unless the person inheriting decides to sell the property to the government, in which case the occupant can and then buy it from the government for a price and paying a monthly amount. If the testament states the property is divided among family members in case of a death or migration of those members, they will share, members will share, I'm sorry, in case of death or migration of those members, their share will immediately go to the government. So that means that it will immediately go back to another person, like whoever is waiting next in line for the next house. It immediately gets filled up. They try not to keep any of them empty, and it's really, really hard. It's very complicated, and so it doesn't have to be, but there's a big bully smack dab above them. I want to tell you the list of countries by home ownership rate. What in America? What is the American dream? Own home.
A dreamsicle?
A dream. Those are delicious, actually, and I love those. Yeah. Okay. We want to know who's not in the top 12? Us. You want to know who is? Cuba. Number 1, Romania. Number 2, Singapore. Number 3, Slovakia. Number 4, Croatia. Number 5, China. Number 6, Cuba. Number 7, Lithuania. Number 8, North Macedonia. Number 9, Russia. Number 10, India, then Hungary, then Serbia. We're not on there because that's not, we try to limit who gets to have property in this country because property is what is valued here over anything else. And it's unfortunate.
It's very Lex Lutheran of us.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's the more, me, I, more, that. And it's when is it going to be enough? I know that you agree with like a cap on pay, and that's what you and I disagree on that. But I do agree with like you're allowed to have 2 houses in Cuba per law. You can have one, but you have to live in one, and you're allowed to have a vacation home. You are allowed to have a vacation home, but you can't have 3 homes. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. You can't live in all of them. They're just sitting there empty, and there's people without one. That's unacceptable. And I agree with that. It's basic decency. Now I know people will say, well, that their lives have nothing to do with them and they shouldn't have anything. I understand your argument. I do. I grew up in a conservative home. I get it. I just disagree wholeheartedly. I wouldn't be able to own 3 homes knowing that my fellow people did it. Like one would have to go to housing people or something. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to. And I like that part of Cuba. That part is so ingrained in them of, when they go to work, they know that they're doing that for their country and their fellow citizens, because they're not going to get a paycheck actually from it, but they're also getting something from it. They're working for, they don't pay rent. They don't pay for all these things. Now, I do have problems with not having enough, and I understand that it is not all Cuba's fault. Now, I was wrong before when I thought it's not their fault at all. I was wrong. They have faults, obviously, but I just didn't think that this was one. No, they actually do. It's because of their history, and the people who already had were able to get, and the people who didn't weren't, and that just makes it start stretching. That's how you get non-class to class to extreme, like we have here, and that's what they don't want there. They never want the extremes. They don't want extreme poverty or extreme wealthiness. They don't want that. And
this is very yin and yang.
Yes.
Right? Like there are opposites, and so it's kind of like Murphy's law. What happened will happen.
Yeah.
And so if you have one extreme, there will be the other extreme.
Right. Yeah, that's the only way you will have one extreme. I'm sorry, but there's no such thing as a moral empire. You can't be filthy rich and all of that money be honest. Like I just.
No, you mean
someone got hurt. Someone lost something along the way.
You can't be talking about like Disney too. Like that's the only exception, right? Disney.
No, hell no. No.
What?
No. So rent tends to be more of a budget buster in coastal cities here in the States. For example, in Los Angeles, the median rent of a $2,095 apartment is 45% of a $55,820 a year average salary. In New York, median rent of a $2,100 a month apartment is 40% of the metro area's average salary of $62,870 a year. So you think about that's a lot of money. Well, We go to Cuba. Social assistance programs targeting low-income or vulnerable populations have also kept food security relatively stable despite the limitations of certain things on certain times. Food is freely distributed to boarding schools, daycare centers, hospitals, maternity homes, and homes for the elderly. Now think about that. And then when the block came and all that money went and all of those programs stayed funded, how? Well, that means that the people that were out in the country starved or ate their animals or starved. A lot of people died. A lot of people died. There are actual graves on the roads where people were waiting at a bus stop for a bus and died because they were trying to get to a hospital. And that wouldn't be if we didn't like completely squeeze that, just not let them have anything because you're butthurt. I don't know how else to say it. I don't like you, so all your people have to starve. Nana nana boo boo, stick your head in doo doo. Like I can't see it any other way. It's so hard to look at your own country like that.
Labels.
But, yeah.
Labels. They're communists.
Ugh,
They're evil. Thus,
people.
the whole country doesn't deserve to live.
They're people. Now I want to tell you about their subsidy for food. So to help you understand how they could live with $28 a month, because I know a lot of people would be like, wait, what the fuck? Okay. Havana 2013. From the rations card, we get rice, beans, sugar, coffee, matches, and when it's available, spaghetti. With the salaries in our countries and the rations really truly help. It helps because normally you get about 20 pounds of beans, 20 pounds of sugar, 20 pounds of rice, and it's a little help for the first days of the month. But it literally lasts about 15 days, the first 15 days of the month, so half a month. Just using these rations for dinner every night, it will last you 15 days. This is what the amount of food is. Just using these rations for dinner. So lunch and breakfast, that's you're gonna have to figure that out. So I wanted to tell you, rice 2 pounds though. 2 pounds is about 90 cents, and 5 pounds if it's broken, which is a different type rate, is 25 cents. Beans, a pound is $1. Sugar was 15 cents for 4 pounds. 15 cents for 4 pounds. Cooking oil, a pound. Who can do with that much oil? Basins, I don't know. But a pound of it is 40 cents. Wow. Chicken, a pound of chicken is 70 cents. 5 eggs is 90 cents. You get 1 kilogram of salt every 3 months. And that's 35 cents. So, a bun, a bread, just like a bun is 5 cents. I really like this because I thought it makes a big difference. So, right, that none of that was fruits and vegetables, like healthy stuff. Well, a sweet potato, you get 1.5 pounds for like 15 cents. And like pineapple, 3 to 5 pieces for the same amount, 15 to 35 cents. So that's a lot of pineapple, and I would eat all of it, and I'm allergic, so it would be really bad. But I would eat all
I
of
would
it.
put it on the
I
pizza.
love pineapple. It's so good, so good. Now, if it's cooked or has been it's the acid in it. It breaks out my throat. It swells it all up. If it's raw, but if I cut it up and sprinkle sugar on it and put it in the fridge, that neutralizes most of the acid, so it only happens just a little bit, and I can eat it, and I'll just eat it until I have too much of it, and I'm like, okay, I gotta stop. But it's one of my favorites. So, the Cuba has 2 domestic currencies: the Cuban or the national peso, or the cup (CUP), and the convertible peso. the Cuban peso can be converted to convertible pesos at the rate of 26 to 1. So you don't have to worry about any of those. Just think that $28, what they do is that's your monthly income. And so they say that your water bill cannot be more than like 2% of that. And that's what your water bill will be. They take that, what your monthly is, and take your bills out of that as a percentage of that. So, right, that changes things a lot. However, it sucks with these new private businesses coming in who only accept American dollars because it doesn't translate at all and they can't afford anything that's in there. They can, the regular stuff, but that's now you're creating classes of people who can and cannot. And now you're going to create those extremes. And that is not okay. I really wish that I had the means to help with that. I do. Because I would. I would. I think I could totally see myself just fighting for that. I really could. Yeah. I've never fallen in love with a culture like this. It's just so to go against the grain against something so big and scary. Pretty crazy and extraordinary, I think. And yeah, watch anything that you can where you get to see Castro talking, but not in a necessarily work setting. I really like that Cuba and the Cameraman was a really special documentary because it wasn't anything that was set up. It was a guy and his wife at the airport in New York with a baby carriage, the old-fashioned kind, really, really extraordinary and long. You can see your baby laying in front of you when you're pushing it, and the little cage or the head cover for the sun comes up. Well, anyway, Castro had never seen anything like it. So he's coming out of the airport. He's coming in to meet people in New York to have some. I honestly forgot what it was he was coming for, but it was in 1970, so it won't be hard to find. And he just leaves the people he's with to come over to the stroller, and then he sees there's all these first generation videotape camera. You know, the big huge cameras you hold your shoulder. You have to like hold like this. Okay, so and he just, Cuba didn't have those things, so he thought it was so cool, and he's holding it, and Castro was like picking it up and playing with these cameras, and now him and this guy who's a journalist become friends. And throughout the years, this guy goes back to Cuba every 6 years, every 7 years, every 10 years. And he tries to find the same people every time and talk to them. So you get to see them through their lives. It's such a special such a special film. And it didn't propagandize or hide any of the things that were just, heart-wrenchingly cruel. It just laid it bare. But it showed it from a very humanist perspective. It was a wonderful film. And it opened my mind up to being wrong, so that I could I just wanted to stay in the Cuba zone, but not learn anything. I was done for the day as far as research, but I still wanted to be there. Like, I'm just obsessed with it right now. So I've been wanting to watch it for a while. I've seen it. I had it in my saved movies, but there was a lot that I would have to read. I wouldn't just be able to listen because I won't understand. So I had to make sure that I was ready to pay attention to a film long enough, which, I have to sit down. So yeah, make me sit down and watch something, which I will. I just have to prepare myself. I have to roll one, set it down, and like make sure I have my drink. I got my puppy dog, make sure he's gone for a walk. All these things have to happen. And then, yeah, it was one of the best documentaries I might have ever seen. It just was very, very special to do that. And he got to these three brothers, Cuban brothers, and their sister. She outlived them all. she outlived them all. He would go back and one brother was gone, and then another brother was gone, and then another brother was gone. On his last trip back, he didn't know if he was going to be able to see Castro ever again, and he didn't want that to happen, to not be able to say goodbye to him. And it's so special. He got to say goodbye to him, kiss him on the forehead. And he was very old and very sick. But he got to tell him, you know, that the saddest part is all the friends that he made was coming back and they were gone. And he didn't want that to happen. And he got to see him again. And their relationship was special. He was a funny guy. He is a very funny guy. I think that part was missed out on because of communism. You know, it's just like you said, it just, that label takes over, and he is that now. He can't be anything else. You can't see him as a nuanced human being that has opinions and that has heartbreak and loss, and you know, he did. He's actually an extraordinary human. I don't agree with everything. There's much that I don't agree with. However, as far as JFK and him right now, I'm so pissed because I cannot see him ever doing that. But ours did. So I would never be willing to starve out people because they're leader. Or I don't understand how anybody's okay with that, actually. That really breaks my heart. So that's what I learned this week.
That was good. And that's very relatable to, like, just one of the main reasons that we started this show, you know, is because of things like that.
It's important to be curious. It really is. It's been a tough week for me. I was really sick last week, so it's been really hard to recover. There was times where I couldn't read because I couldn't stop throwing up, or I didn't have anything in me to throw up, but my body still wanted to throw up. It was bad. It was really bad. And then, like, that nauseous feeling 24 hours straight. So no sleep because I can't. My mouth just kept salivating, and then I was overtired, and then it was awful. I'm not better yet. I feel like crap still. I did hold my food down 2 days in a row. So today's number 2. Yes, I know. I was actually, yesterday I said I'm hungry. Like, not because I need to force myself to eat, because I have to have something in there, but because I'm actually, like, I think I want to eat something. That's actually a good sign. So
there you go.
Yeah. So I think it was a good week to just focus on one story that I actually am curious about. And, you know, because I really didn't, to put in work, this wasn't work for me, guys, at all. This was everything I live for, is to have my mind changed and to be opened up to new ideas and to learn something I didn't know, and especially about a place that I feel disconnected to.
Yeah,
weird how that happens.
It shows that it wasn't work. It shows that you, like, really enjoyed it, and,
Yes.
And it was good. I was really excited all week about it. So
yeah, there's so much. I have so much data and information that I just wanted to share, but it wasn't the story that was important. It wasn't. Anybody can find that. I mean, I did. I'm just a girl. Don't have.
I agree.
I'm a cosmetologist, but I never went to college. So anybody can, if they really want to be curious and actually be curious, like, not go look for the answer that you know is out there. Go look for where the information leads you to. And that's the actual answer. So my mind's been enlightened. I find that I'm thinking about Cuba when I'm walking my dog, about the policies there and how their new constitution's working, and I just want them to be able to see if it works, you know, like, back the fuck off. Yeah. Why don't we help them? Oh, what about that? That's so crazy. What if we help them?
Right? Who are you kidding? We won't even help Flynn.
Yeah.
So.
Well. I think that every human deserves those basic things. And so any leader that is willing to stand up for those basic things, and I agree with that. And I don't have to like everything about you to agree with certain things that you do. There's policies that I've been proud that and Reagan had a couple policies that I like was like, what? You know, going through his stuff like, whoa, okay. Eisenhower, Republican, had some amazing policies. He was actually the last real, I think, of that old school Republican Party. He was the last one of those. There's not been one since.
No.
Nope. Oh, okay.
You have a sneak peek for us for next week? What you got?
I'm going over a couple different things. I really want to. Okay, so there's a part of me that I don't like drama. I don't like watch The View because I don't like that cringe that like they're arguing with each other, and I just don't like it. I want to learn something. I don't want to watch stupid. Yeah, I don't know. Now if it's an important matter and they have something to say that means something, or if one of them actually says something that's not something that I knew in 4th grade, which come on, it's The View. Then yeah, okay, then I'll share it and be like, but probably not. I've probably never seen it. However, I do and am interested in how many people were actually involved in the Capitol, and how many people were actually planning it. And we have footage now with people who stormed the Capitol doing the hand signals with the cords in their ears. But I don't think we're gonna know. Who knows? I mean, I haven't actually sat down. Like I said, I have not. I spent the week in the Caribbean on my favorite island that I've never been to, which sounds so cheesy, but it just is. I don't know how. Puerto Rico too. I mean, they're just gorgeous, and I've never been to either one, but I know they're gorgeous. But I am a beach baby. I could spend the rest of I could shrivel up like a raisin with skin cancer and be perfectly happy. I just love the beach. I don't need a big house. Just need a kitchen, a bathroom, and a bedroom, actually. And the beach. That's what I need in my life. That's it. Yep. And books.
I dig that.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Sandy toes. Yep. Burnt nose. Yes, but old. Yeah, always. I have more swimsuits because in Florida it's so hot. In the summer it's like Satan's taint. Like it's awful. It's awful here. It's 100, 101, 102, but the humidity is 100%. So it's like you're swimming through the air. So hot. Your hair immediately sticks to you and you're just covered in slimy sweat. So you don't want to wear anything because it's on you. It's like, oh. So I just wear a pink bikini and then the next day a blue one and then the next one, and just like a sundress on top of it that's bare, just because I have to have something on because
I would probably do the same.
Yeah, you can share.
Pick one the first day, then a blue bikini, and
yeah,
then a yellow polka dot.
Oh, yeah, of course. Who doesn't have that?
I do.
Yeah.
I wanted to like let everyone know because I am aware of it and I really want to cover it. The GameStop and the
it's so good.
All those. I'm so excited. It's great. So that's what I'm gonna be covering next week.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, I can just say GameStop and people all around me are getting excited.
It's so good.
so great.
It's glorious, actually. When I see a stockbroker or a hedge fund manager or I don't know, a greasy asshole in a $10,000 suit crying like a toddler, it's just the humanist in me just kind of sits back for a moment and goes, "You got this one, Christy." And I'm like, oh wait, that's not inappropriate. However, still, have a taste of your own medicine. You don't like it, do you? It's not right. You don't like it, huh?
It's so good though. It's so good.
So good.
And it's I kind of wanted to like do something on it this week, but also I mean,
it's better to wait. Let it all kind of.
I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens. Yeah. Very excited. So until then, everyone have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us. This was a really fun show tonight.
Hold on, you guys, don't forget, if you haven't heard, watch Chew on Head interviewing people about Trump. Yes, please.
Yeah, like she just had one question.
Yes.
That one, yeah.
About the flag.
Is it legal, or should it be legal to burn the flag?
These idiots do not understand our First Amendment, or that the Second Amendment can't just be taken from you. No one can take an amendment. The Constitution cannot be fucked with unless we have it. Okay, people, there are. I hate that I have to do this.
Hold on, can I just like make a play on words on what you just said?
Go for it.
No matter how much you hump the flag, you can't fuck with the Constitution.
Yes, Trump. There you go. I like that. Actually, I would wear a shirt that says that. You can't. When they say they're going to take the Second Amendment away, no, it's part of the Constitution. There would have to be a constitutional convention put together, which you have to have like 34 of the 50 states come together. Like, nobody's taking anything from you. That's part of the. I can't sometimes. And when they say, "Oh no, you should go to jail for that," I'm like, "Oh my God, you do not understand what free speech is, or why it's the most important part of having. Oh God, or why it's number one." They just don't get it. Nope, they think that you should be put in jail. Trump wants people to go to prison for a year if they burn the flag. That makes me want to go outside and burn a flag. That's immediately. That's what it makes me want to do. Immediately, because I don't know why. Something's wrong with my brain. Because I'm a rebel. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah, and Chew on Head she just has that way, you know. She just has that way. When I saw her when I saw her on The Rising with Crystal, I was like, "Wait, what?" Yes.
Oh, I didn't see her. Yes. I didn't see her.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I was like, "Look at you, girl. You go."
I know that Kyle featured her on his channel. I'm like, yes.
No, talking with Crystal on The Rising. So the nation who is not on YouTube or doesn't watch her got a dose of Chew on Head. I know. Yes. Hello world.
All right. Well, that alone just gave me some hope for 2021. That alone.
That and that alone.
Mama June on the news.
Yes. It's on cable news. On the news. Yes. I know. Good stuff. Oh, let me share that.
Also, like Kyle Kalinski's like super duper close to like 1 million subscribers.
Oh, I wish I could.
He hasn't been like saying anything about it from what I've seen, but like I've been noticing him like quickly getting through the 900 spot.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's like by next week it could happen. And Jimmy Dore's getting up there too. Like those two are really flying.
Okay, guys, this one that I'm sharing right now is sub to this channel. I'm not gonna say his name. You guys can see it when I put it up right now. Okay, this is going to give you all of the stuff that is pretty much what you're going to find if you research the dates and the history and when, what, how, and how it works, like how the money conversion works, how the $28 a month works. It explains how Cuba works, how you, that way you're like, okay, I get it. I understand. You can walk away from, and it's simple and there's no feelings. It's just that. And so I have, every time a video comes out, I'm like the first one on it. Like, you know, because you can see like no views. I'm the first one watching it. I love his channel. I love the work he does. I think that he's brilliant. I think he's undersubbed. I think that we need more people that go back and make sure that they got it right and are willing to go, I got it wrong. I just like him. And he's got a crazy mix for an accent. So it's gonna be, yeah, I like when people are from different places and then grow up in a place like Australia. So they have a different background accent mixed with the Australian accent or a New Zealand accent. I just like it. It's so unique.
Yeah, it's always.
And I like perspectives from other countries, and he's not from here, so.
It's nice. It's nice. It's refreshing, and we need it.
Yes, it's very, very refreshing. Yeah, I have to look it up. Okay, so if you guys do have Netflix, Cuba and the Cameraman. Fucking brilliant documentary. I mean, it's long, but you are going to fall in love with these people over their lifetimes. You're going to meet little girls, and then you're going to see them when they're old, and it's just, you're going to, the span of all these different things that are going on. It's Cuba and the Cameraman, and it's just that guy with him and his wife who had the first generation cameras, who happened to just be at the airport when Castro was at the airport and made friends with him. So it's just this, you know, natural happening friendship that happened. Nothing was, there's no, this is your line. It's what is happened. And he wanted to make a beautiful, over a lifetime film about it. And he did. And it took him his lifetime to make it. He was a young man on the first one, very young, and he was an old man in the last one. And I dig that. I think, I mean, he put his life into that piece, and I think we'll have it right here forever.
It's really awesome. I'm excited to watch it.
It's so good, man. So good. It's so good. The three brothers on the farm, they're my favorite. They're my favorite. This man is like 88 years old, and every time he comes to Cuba, they arm wrestle. And he whoops him every single time. I mean, the sister, all three brothers and the sister whoop him every single time because they're farmers. They were, I mean, they're out 7 days a week farming. So yeah, they can kick your ass. They're as short as Stacy and super, super skinny like you. And they can kick everybody's ass because they've been farmers their whole life, whipping a machete around. Yeah, it's great. I'm glad you guys were here for this one. It was a good one. And I know, sorry, it's I take that stuff seriously. I don't. It's not okay. So this is gonna happen when people talk about starving people out, because I don't know how to not let that happen. And I guess that's just how I feel about that. Obviously, I'm trying not to, but I can't even say it without it happening. And the fact that it was said out loud, like, this is what we're gonna do by our president, I was already nauseous, you know. Stop. Stop. So I think that's immoral and that's disgusting. And I have a whole different opinion about that man right now, which I know nobody is the sum of the one bad thing they did. I get it. I believe it. I do believe that. And he is more than that. However, that's not a little thing. That's not, you know, he said they should go back to their own country. You're just an ignorant asshole, a bigoted asshole. This was different. This was, I have the means to starve out an entire population and I can't wait to fucking do it. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you I'm going to do it and why I'm going to do it. Because of communism.
Yep.
Because of Mac's first topic.
Labels.
Yeah, labels. So unfortunate.
That topic can like tie in to just about every topic.
Yeah.
In like some way.
Yeah.
I was tempted to be like, hey, like we like did that real good together tonight. And just like, well, that's a pretty versatile topic. Can't pat the back of that one.
I see Rex in the chat. Do you see that, Rex? Hold on, I'll turn the light up for you. Okay, guys, it's 85 weeks. 85. Let's see if I can. Oh, what was that? Okay, see, look right. I know.
Wow.
It's so silver. And then
that's crazy.
It's so silver under there. I know. But it's only right here. And then just not right here. This part right here is just staying brown. It's just gonna stay brown. So I'm gonna have, look, all silver hair. This is all silver. There's no brown in there. And white in the front. So I'm gonna have all silver hair and one brown piece.
Yep. Reverse rogue.
Yeah, reverse rogue. Yeah, silver back here, but no, silver. That piece is not. It's white. And in the sun, it's like white. As white as a white crayon. I know. And then Isabel said, Mom, it looks like you sprayed your hair with white on top. Like it looks like you sprayed because it's so dark and then so white. This doesn't do it justice. I have a couple pictures on Instagram in the like sunlight, daytime light, so you can see, and it's like a platinum ring.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I still see so much brown, like when I'm looking at you, like until you like turn down the light. It's much different then.
And then it's much different then.
Yeah.
All the way to here.
And how many weeks did you say?
85.
So I thought that's nuts. It doesn't feel like it doesn't like feel like it's been that long.
Yeah, and I didn't start doing this until, we've been doing this for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I know. Who are we? What have we become?
What's going on? Yeah, we just hit our 2-year mark, didn't we?
Yeah, we hit our 2-year mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
All right. We just like doing it. So I mean, we forget. This week was really, I love doing a story that I'm curious and don't know, because I don't know where it's gonna take me. I don't know what to tell you guys, except for it's gonna be good because I'm really excited about it. So I don't know, actually.
I'm really excited for like next week. Like I know what I want to cover already. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I will definitely let you know though, because I didn't spend any time on anything else. I really, I obviously paid attention to what was going on because that was crazy, and I don't know if there will be enough information to cover that or not. And yes, Minnie, you can brush my hair anytime. We'll brush each other's beautiful hair. And then I guess just I love you guys and happy Friday. And I don't know, you guys can travel to Cuba now. And if you do, you can do it through the program where you get to help the Cubans out. And that's really freaking awesome. You get to stay with them. So I don't know if you want to go on vacation and you have money to do that. They're really serious about the coronavirus. So you will have to wear a mask. So, you can't be a jack off. You will have to wear one. And certain things are shut down because of the coronavirus. Science is real there. It's a real thing. So
Yeah.
And I love you guys. And I'm not sorry that I cried at all, because that's serious stuff, and that's how I feel about it. This is, and I guess that's why I'm humanist. So I guess stay humanist regardless.
Regardless.